You're getting married soon, and one of your scariest thoughts is, why am I not excited for my wedding anymore? I need you to take a breath. That feeling does not automatically mean something is wrong with your relationship. It does not mean that you're a bad bride. It does not mean that you're ungrateful. It means that you're overwhelmed, that you're tired. It might mean planning this wedding has turned into a full time emotional customer service job, and you're running out of polite emails. So today, I want to talk about what it can mean when you're not excited about your wedding anymore and how to find a way back to what actually matters. Hey, I'm Stephen Barnett, and I'm a Pennsylvania wedding photographer. I photograph weddings throughout central Pennsylvania, including Harrisburg, Hershey, Lancaster, York, Gettysburg, and the surrounding areas. And today, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of engaged people feel, but not enough people say out loud. What if you're not excited about your wedding anymore? Not your marriage, not your partner, but the wedding, the planning, the decisions, the money, the guest list, the opinions, the constant questions. The feeling that everyone expects you to be glowing and thrilled, but inside you're just tired. If that's you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Wedding planning can take something beautiful and make it feel strangely heavy. You can love your fiance and still hate planning a wedding. You can want to be married and still feel exhausted by the event. You can be grateful and still feel overwhelmed. Those things can't exist at the same time. And I think that's where a lot of guilt comes from because people expect engaged couples, especially brides, to be excited all the time. You're supposed to love every appointment. You're supposed to cry happy tears over every detail. You're supposed to have opinions about napkins, flowers, signage, shoes, chairs, lighting, favors, the tiny little cards that tell people what kind of chicken they're eating. And maybe at first some of it was fun, but then slowly it started to feel like too much. Now, every wedding question makes your shoulders tighten. Every text about the wedding annoys you. Every decision feels expensive. And when someone asks, "Are you so excited?" you feel like a liar if you say yes. So let's talk about what might actually be happening. The first possibility is decision fatigue. Wedding planning is decision after decision after decision. Venue, date, budget, guest list, food, photography, video, DJ, floors, dress, suits, hair, makeup, invitations, hotel blocks, transportation, timeline, ceremony, music, seating chart, family photos, rain plan, rehearsal, dinner. There's probably a ton more. And somehow, someone still wants to know what color the cocktail napkin should be. At some point, your brain gets tired. That does not mean that you don't care. It means your brain is trying to protect itself from making one more decision. So if you feel numb, irritable, disconnected, it may not be a sign that the wedding is wrong. It may be a sign that your brain is overloaded. The second possibility is that the wedding has started to feel like it belongs to everyone else. This one is big. Family opinions, guest list pressure, traditions you don't care about, people asking for things, people assuming things, people making comments about money, people saying, "Well, you have to invite them." No, girlie, you do not need to turn your wedding into a community potluck of everyone's expectations, but I know it can feel that way. When everyone else has an opinion, it can get harder to hear your own. And eventually, you may start resenting the wedding because it no longer feels like yours. If that's happening, the answer is to not always cancel everything and run into the woods, although I respect the drama. The answer might be to come back to your center, you and your fiance. What do you two actually want? What matters most? What parts of the day still feel meaningful? What parts are you only doing because someone else expected them? That conversation matters. The third possibility is money stress. Weddings are expensive, and the hard part is that every decision can feel like it has a price tag attached. You want beautiful photos, that costs money. You want good food, that costs money. You want no space, that costs money. You want florals, that costs money. You want a dress you love, that costs money. You want your guests to be comfortable, that costs money. And if the budget is tight, or if costs keep climbing, or you're trying not to disappoint people, it can start to feel less like planning a celebration and more like trying to survive a financial obstacle course in formal wear. That can steal excitement fast. If money is part of the stress, you and a fiance may need to pause and reprioritize. What is actually worth the money to you? What can be simplified? What can be removed? What are you spending on because you truly care? And what are you spending on because you feel pressured? That is not always an easy conversation, but it can bring a lot of clarity. The fourth possibility is that being the center of attention is freaking you out. This does not get talked enough about. Some people love attention. Some people hear the words all eyes on you and immediately want to fake their own disappearance. A wedding can be beautiful, but it's also a day where people are looking at you, photographing you, hugging you, asking questions, watching your entrance, watching your ceremony, watching your first dance, watching your reactions, and somehow expecting you to float through the room like a bridal swan with excellent posture. If that sounds overwhelming, you're not broken. You just might be someone who does not love being watched, and that's okay. There are ways to make the day feel less intense. You can do a private first look. You can write private vows. You can build quiet moments into the timeline. You can keep portraits calmer. You can talk to your photographer about feeling awkward. Hi. You can ask your planner or coordinator to protect a few breathing room moments. You can make the day feel more like a wedding that you actually live inside, not a performance you have to survive. The fifth possibility is that you're emotionally tired. Planning a wedding can bring up a lot: family dynamics, grief, friendship changes, money tension, body image, expectations, pressure. The feeling that people are not showing up for you the way you hoped they would. Sometimes the wedding becomes a mirror for things that were already tender. Maybe you thought your friends would be more excited. Maybe you thought your family would be easier. Maybe someone important is missing. Maybe the process feels lonelier than you expected. Maybe you're realizing that planning a wedding is not the same thing as being supported. That can hurt. And if you're feeling that, I want to say this gently. It makes sense that you're tired. It makes sense that the excitement feels harder to access. You are carrying more than a checklist. The sixth possibility is that you need a wedding detox. Not forever, but just a break. Sometimes the best thing you can do is have one night where you do not talk about the wedding. No budget talk, no guest list talk, no vendor emails, no Pinterest, no quick question from family, no doom scrolling, no comparing your wedding to strangers with suspiciously perfect tablescapes. Just you and your fiance being people. Go to dinner, watch a movie, take a walk, play a game, sit on the couch, talk literally about anything else. You may need to remember that your relationship is bigger than this event. The wedding is important, but it's not supposed to swallow your entire life. The seventh thing I want you to do is name what still matters, not what should matter, what actually matters. Maybe you still care about marrying your person. Maybe you care about having your grandparents there. Maybe you care about the ceremony. Maybe you care about the photos. Maybe you do care about dancing with your friends. Maybe you do care about seeing your partner's face when they see you. Maybe you care about the food. Maybe you care about the one quiet moment together after the ceremony. Good. Start there. When everything feels overwhelming, come back to the pieces that still feel true. You do not need to be equally excited about every part of the wedding. You are allowed to care about some things more than others. The eighth thing is to delegate or delete. Some tasks need to be done. Some tasks need to be handled to someone else. Some tasks may not actually matter if the wedding feels too heavy. Look at this list and ask 3 questions. Does this truly matter to us? Can someone else handle it? What happens if we skip it? Some couples are carrying stress over things they do not even care about. If favors are making you miserable and you don't care about favors, skip them. If a tradition feels fake to you, change it. If a detail is only happening because the internet told you it should, question it. Not every wedding task deserves your emotional energy. The ninth thing is to talk to your vendors. I know that might sound strange, but good vendors can help. Your planner or coordinator can help simplify the timeline. Your venue can clarify logistics. Your photographer can help you think through the portraits, family photos, first looks, and the parts of the day that feel overwhelming. If you're nervous about being photographed, say that. Good vendors are not just there to check boxes. They help the day feel more manageable. And honestly, this is one of the reasons I care so much about being more than just the person with the camera. I want my couples to feel guided. I want them to feel prepared. I want them to feel like they can ask questions without feeling ridiculous because most couples have never planned a wedding before. Of course, you don't know everything. You're not supposed to. The 10th thing is to pay attention to the difference between wedding stress and relationship doubt. This is important. Sometimes people feel overwhelmed by a wedding and start thinking, does this mean something is wrong? Not necessarily. You can be exhausted by planning and still be excited to marry your person. You can hate the event logistics and still love your fiance deeply. You can want the wedding to be over and still want the marriage. But if your lack of excitement is connected to fear about the relationship itself, or you feel unsafe, or you feel pressured into getting married, that is something to take seriously. Talk to someone that you trust. Talk to a counselor or a therapist if you can. Don't ignore that. But if what you're feeling is more like, I love my partner, I just hate this process, then you may not need to panic. You may need support, boundaries, rest, perhaps a simpler plan. So if you're sitting there wondering why you're not excited for your wedding anymore, here's what I want you to hear. You're not a bad bride. You're not failing at being engaged. You're not required to be thrilled every second. Wedding planning can be stressful, expensive, emotional, and weirdly lonely. It can bring up things you did not expect. It can make you tired. It can make you want to hide from your own inbox. It does not mean your wedding cannot still be beautiful. It does not mean your day cannot still feel meaningful. It does not mean that you will feel this way forever. Come back to what matters. Come back to fiance. Come back to the parts of the day that still feel true. Simplify what you can, delegate what you can, and let go of what does not matter, and choose vendors who help you feel less alone in the process. If you're planning a wedding in Pennsylvania and you feel overwhelmed by the photo side of the day, or you just want a photographer who understands the wedding process and how that can feel like a lot, I would love to talk with you. My goal is to help you feel comfortable, prepared, taken care of, and not make the day feel more stressful. Head to my website, send me an inquiry, and tell me what you're planning. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I'd love to hear your story and help you feel a little less alone in this process.